Boy, we can't seem to get rid of Mr. Biden, can we? We're going to talk about what he just invested in right before he left office. What money did he spend to ensure that we were safe with these protocols? It will blow your mind. Not only that, we're going to talk about a new story that James O'Keefe just broke about our intelligence agency. What did I say yesterday about some of those intelligence holdovers trying to cause problems for Trump? Well, here's the proof. We have the proof right here with James O'Keefe's report from ONG Media. Hey, remember how Biden said he was going to take care of Americans like, North Carolina and things like that, and it just kind of fell to the wayside. FEMA just gives $700, $750. Well, let's see what Trump just did. It will blow your mind how much this man is working for you. Also, for me personally, to hear that people that got put in jail for the FACE Act, the ones who prayed at abortion clinics, guess what? They've been pardoned. A lot of great things are happening. This is what we call winning in 2025 with Trump. Let's talk about some of these policies today and some of the things that we still have to pay attention to. There's a bank trying to take your information. Remember, as I said with OMG, there's some people in the deep state that is still trying to cause problems for Trump. We're going to talk about all that today. Let's jump into this video. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Remember to check me out on Twitter. A lot of times I'm sharing a lot of these details and funny memes, but also just some good quality information for you and your family. A lot of people ask where I get some of the information. Some of these independent journals I share, their repost, and then that way you can see where some of this information is. That way you could be prepared. Also remember two other channels, The Max Life, my wife's channel, her perspective on the world and vlogging. Also a backstage look at what goes on behind the cameras at Life with Colby. That's the new channel we just started. I think we're on our 10th video. We're putting out a video a week or 2 videos a week just so you can see an in-depth back knowledge of our family and how we raise our family sustainable and how we do this homesteading journey. Now let's jump into the stories of the day because this is what's important. I shared yesterday how it's almost like hashtag winning. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that we've set the bar high, and I feel like we've climbed. We've got some great pardons. We've got some great things going on. We've got some great firings. I mean, the military is starting to deport. I mean, there's a lot of great things happening. And I know that there's going to be, it's kind of like the market, there's going to be some ups and downs. But so far, Trump has done a phenomenal job. He's done probably more for the American people, honestly. And I'll say this, and I want you to really think about it. He's probably done more for the American people in the last few days than what we saw even in his first term and also for all the other presidents in the last 10 to 15, 20 years. Really. I mean, like, for instance, pardoning Albright. That was a big deal. All the guy did was open a space for crypto. Not that I back crypto, but the government went after him. Also talking about Bank of America yesterday, and that's one of the stories we're going to talk about, how he called them by names. He named names and said they were taken care of by big players and they were hurting conservatives and debanking them. Proof was Eric Prince, people like Donald Trump Jr. And son, I'm telling you, it was amazing to see Donald Trump called them out basically at Davos. What an awesome sign to see. And then again, things like the abortion clinic, all the people that got put in jail for praying at abortion clinics. Nothing else but praying at abortion clinics. And now they're free. They're pardoned. There's a lot taking place, and that's what we call hashtag winning. That is good. Now let's jump into what we're talking about with the Bank of America first, and then we will kind of go on with the other story with OMG. Trump shared yesterday, and he really spoke very, very plainly about what America's goal was for the future. Manifest destiny as in we're going to pursue the goals to make sure the American people thrive. Not globalist agenda goals, not the movement of establishment goals, but the American people. Well, first he says we're going to get rid of banks that cause us problems. And he didn't say he was going to close down Bank of America. What he was saying was he called them out for pinpointing and targeting conservatives and not allowing them to bank. Well, what was amazing is they thought it was a good idea to go share on Twitter and all their social media that they've never done that they've never debanked. Oh my gosh, that blew up in their face because then all the people that they have debanked shared it and talked about how their families were majorly affected. Now, I tell you all the time, don't stay in these national banks. Don't stay in these banks that are tied to the Fed. Don't stay in these banks that are tied to this global push. You need to be at local banks. And this is proven based on the debanking that Bank of America just did. And now they are reaping the consequences of it, because not only did Trump break them over the coals, Eric Prince shared a big article about how his family, his son, his ex-wife, their family was taking and debanked. Donald Trump Jr. debanked. And then Charlie Kirk shared a numerous amount of people that were debanked. So it was like, not only did they come back and try to just, instead of apologize and say, we're sorry, we're going to learn from it, they doubled down, and it made them look like even more foolish. We're in a time where America literally can thrive. I don't put it for our leaders to do that, like a Congress and Senate, because to be honest with you, most of them are weak and inept. I mean, look at Murkowski, Collins. They should be primaried. Maine, Alaska. You should primary these people. Of course, McConnell. My gosh, what is he, like 130? He needs to go. These are the people trying to hold up the will of the people. Those three people, and there's a few more too, but those three are the main ones. It's time to get rid of them, and it's time to find good people who support the American movement and the goals. Like, for instance, pardoning these people. Every one of them were against the pardons. Every one of them were against these nominations that Trump is pulling forth. So you see, we don't have really great representation in Congress. We have some good players, but what they feel is the pressure of the American people telling them, we want to follow who we elected, and you better pass his agendas. Did you see yesterday he revoked clearances for Brennan? Brennan was a proponent, basically works as a lobbyist now and a deep operative to foreign governments. And he still had security clearances gone. I love the fact that he pulled Mike Pompeo and didn't allow Antony Blinken and John Bolton, some of these other guys who had all this money. Did you know that John Bolton and Mike Pompeo had like millions of dollars worth of Secret Service every year? Well, you wonder why the president was his life was attempted? Well, because my gosh, they were spread thin because they have to protect everybody and their mama. The thing is this, I know we live in an unsafe world, but you know, once you've been like John Bolton, he was in the Bush White House and then worked a little bit in the Trump White House. He does not need millions of dollars worth of security that we provide as taxpayers. All that money that he gets from the deep state, all that money that he gets from the managerial class and from his lobbying fees and dues, the man's a rich man. He can take care of his own security. That's like us saying we're gonna cover and pay for all these people, like all these rich billionaires. Why? Because they pay for their own private security. Zuckerberg talked about how he has to pay for his own private security. Elon Musk, same way. If those people are willing to stick their neck out, and yes, while they're serving, like Pompeo and Bolton, while they were serving in office, absolutely we should protect them. But once they're out of office, some of these people that were just cabinet picks, why are we paying for their service and giving them clearance to top secret information? Top secret information that they could use for nefarious reasons. So I think it's awesome that he started revoking clearances and revoking things that they were getting. That shows this guy's not playing any games anymore. Cut all DEI, that's a phenomenal thing. So what he's doing is he's changing the game. And just like when he named names, for instance, with Bank of America, it pinpoints business to say, you know what, I may not need to play games with this guy anymore. I mean, to me, and I'm going to say this, and I say this in a good way, Trump is on a vendetta. He has nothing to lose, and he is trying to make America truly great because he knows he has legacy. He has kids, he has grandkids. He will probably have great-grandkids very, very soon. The man wants legacy and wants his name remembered not because of being just a socialite in New York. He's changing the way America does policy, naming and revoking security clearances for all these deep state operatives. That is huge. And that's what we want to see from our leaders, that they stand for the American people. Prime example. Let's go to North Carolina. What just happened in North Carolina? This was a story shared by Benny Johnson. The Biden administration neglecting North Carolina hurricane victims, leaving them to sleep in the snow. Literally, there's people in tents and have no power still, sleeping in a off-grid house basically because they have no electricity, no utilities, no propane to heat their home. And some of them are even sleeping in tents. You don't believe me? Go and look at the first-hand counts. It says leaving them to sleep in the snow and giving them $750 while billions sent to Ukraine. 2 days into Trump's administration, listen to this, They are moving victims of North Carolina and some of these people that were in tents that don't have anything into fully furnished apartments, trying to make sure they're taken care of. He actually said, get FEMA out of the way and let the locals and the state take care of their people. He says, we'll make sure they're getting what they need, but it seems like FEMA's getting in the way more than they're actually helping. How awesome is that? 2 to 3 days into their election. And if I'm not mistaken, Trump is going to actually tour the disaster zones, or already has. And so he's like, look, we're not playing games anymore. These people need to be taken care of. I love the fact this goes back to a few days ago when he did the 90-day hold of federal funds going overseas. You know why that's smart? Because now he can invest that in the people of America. That's our money anyway. Don't you pay taxes? I pay taxes. And so don't you think we should freeze the money going out of America so we can focus on the people in America? I'm going to be honest with you. I would much rather my taxation and my money go to these people in North Carolina that's got children sleeping in a tent with no propane in the snowy mountains of North Carolina. Or it helps someone in California that's lost everything and their insurance has messed them over. If I have to pay my taxes, I'd rather go to those kind of people who are struggling, not to Ukraine. Now, word is that Ukraine, Zelensky, and Russia, they're wanting to sit down for peace talks because of Trump. But also, Zelensky goes to Davos a few days ago and says that he believes that we need to give him troops for peace to settle this agreement. No. I'm sick of Zelensky having power over NATO and America. There's a story that said that, remember, NATO is America. America runs NATO about 80% of the funding, the military assets, and everything about it. So whatever Trump says, NATO does. This is when Trump needs to call their hand and say, look, no more money, no more weaponry. Russia, leave them alone. Let's work out an agreement and let's fix this and save lives. And I think that's what you're going to see. Actually, I think you're going to see that in the next coming few weeks. I really, honestly do. Just like the North Carolina thing. 2 days after his administration's there's people on the ground actually trying to help and trying to get these people in apartments and in hotels to protect Americans. That is what true leadership looks like. Before we get into the story of the OMG, I want to mention one more thing. We talked about H5N1, and it's still affecting. Like, there was a place in Georgia where they're shutting down poultry. I think it's a big deal, not because of the risk of severity of me raising my backyard chickens, but I think it's going to give the reasons behind it to push and try to take away the rights to raise our own food. Now, that's the managerial class in the establishment. It was already set up. Listen to this. And this was hoping that Kamala got in. Biden administration, it just came out that before he left office, he gave $590 million to Moderna to speed up the process of developing a bird flu vaccine. Now, we're not going to talk about Gates and the gain of function stuff that has been linked to this H5N1. But even before he left office, he fully funded $590 million to Moderna. So the play was already set in that this was going to happen, this is going to be dangerous. So I'm really hoping that Trump, again, pays attention to some of these people, even in some of these bureaucratic classes. For instance, I was very, very upset about who they just appointed at the USDA as the chief of staff. It's someone that was grown up in U.S. seed oil production. I don't want seed oils. They're dangerous and harmful. And now she's the chief of staff over at the USDA. So you see, what happens is, yes, Trump's doing good things. But again, because he's going on an uphill trajectory and he's doing great things, it does not matter because there's so many people in these administrations for all these years that they've been building up millions of employees that it's going to take him a while. I hope, for instance, Marco Rubio goes into the Secretary of State's office and demolishes everything that goes on there. The DOJ with Pam Bondi, with every one of them. RFK with what goes on in HHS and FDA and USDA. We really need to see changes. SecDef with Pete Hegseth. We need to see changes, but it's going to take his cabinet believing in him. See, what happened in the first term? He put people like Bolton and Pompeo and Pence in his administration, in his cabinet, and they pretty much worked against him. Nikki Haley, they were working as operatives of his, but really they were just operatives of the deep state. Well, now he's got hand-chosen, hand-picked people who are not establishment who can do the change. And it's going to take a while, but they're going to be able to do it. Like, for instance, I hope RFK goes in there and gets rid of this seed oil person in USDA. They should. No matter what, they should get rid of them. Because they do not represent truly what health is when it comes to making America healthy again. So we see some changes happening, but there's still some holdovers because Moderna just got a $590 million check from Biden to develop this thing that goes in your arm, ultimately, because they're still got things in play, it seems. So we have to pay attention to some of these stories. Don't forget the fact of what actually happened and how big this deep state, how big this managerial or establishment is that Trump has to face. Now, this leads me to the final story that we're going to discuss for today. A new story that broke from James O'Keefe. And again, this guy, even when he was with Veritas and now he's with OMG, of course he made them both, and he's the reason that they do what they do. But he shared this, and this is part of his investigative journalism. It says, the deep state is real. White House advisor reveals how bureaucracy protects its own interest. Listen to this. Predicts bureaucracy will crush RFK Jr. as HHS secretary. It will be given an order. I would either try to block it or resign. They're going to try to do more and more to cause problems for not just RFK Jr., Trump as a whole. It says RFK Jr. is a very bad pick for HHS. And what this is he's doing undercover work, usually on some kind of fake date, and usually with the man because they run their flipping mouth too much and try to impress their date. Well, what's so funny is their date has a hidden camera, and they're busting them with this information. It's probably a good chance that the bureaucracy will take over and not allow for some of these cabinet picks to actually happen. Can you give me an example of how you think they'll get in? How do you think RFK would get in? He can't because of the establishment, is what this guy's saying. He talks about how they make commissions and how they try to build some kind of little programs. And when you hear him say that, think about this. How many times have you heard Congress and some of these leaders make committees, make commissions? They make these advisory boards. And all it is a bunch of fluff. And because he said, all we do is use that to just kick things down the road, to actually change the thought pattern, to feel like something's actually happening and they're actually not doing anything. It's a waste of our taxpayer dollars and actually shows that there's someone always fighting against us. James O'Keefe kept on going and said, a deep state official waddles away. Top White House official, after he confronts him, says that the deep state is real. Now he's trying to backtrack and say, oh, no, I didn't say all that. That was all just because I was under duress. Well, he wasn't under duress. He was on a date, sharing all this craziness. It says that Byron Cohen, who's the guy who they busted, looks back in bewilderment at the American swiper before frustratingly exclaiming, I'm not really interested in having this conversation anymore. So what's so funny is he did not deny that the bureaucracy exists. He got caught and was basically saying that they're going to do everything they can to keep the cabinet picks of Trump's out, especially people like RFK that want to change how the establishment does business. What did I say about Collins and Murkowski and McConnell? They've been there too long. All they've done is try to hold up the cabinet picks of Trump. Do you know? Go back and look at their track records and a lot of other Republican senators that are skeptical. Most of them allow Biden and Obama's picks to go through. However crazy they were, allowed them to go through. But not Trump's. That is the managerial and the establishment working against Trump and his cabinet and holding them to do, just like what this guy was saying, to do our will, because the bureaucratic class does exist and we're more powerful than this president and this cabinet. The threats are there. And the question is, what is Trump going to do? Now, again, he goes in and appoints a guy over Secret Service. Don't know the guy, but I'll tell you what has happened. It says, newly appointed President Trump's Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, warns up to 10 Secret Service officers could be fired. He's talking about the senior pool. They said he's already got his eyes on firing several of them that in the senior roles that are actually not doing their jobs. Change. We need change. And we don't need just a little change. We need a lot of change. Like yesterday, did you see the numbers where ICE had started deporting? That's great. I hate to see, again, families broken up. They should have never came here. There was also media shared on people literally self-deporting back. The line going into Mexico was like backed up, traffic backed up. It's a good sign. America needs sovereignty again. And what we're seeing is winning. And what we're seeing is common sense. And what we're seeing is a leader who cares about the American people and puts the American people first. We're coming up on 250 years, like a birthday celebration. And what was amazing is Trump's already planned this big ordeal and how we should look at America as an exceptional country and how we should be proud of what we've accomplished. Name one other politician that wouldn't go up there and talk about these tribal lands, talk about how we stole it, and how we should look for diversity more in America. They would try to find ways to really not help America at all, make America look like the bad guy. Trump is coming in here and saying, no, America is going to be exceptional. We're going to be the city on a hill again. And it reminds you of when we started this nation, the excitement. That's one thing I've seen a lot. You see the crybabies and you see the liberal tears, you see the media, but more than that, you're actually seeing winning and you're seeing people excited again. Stock market's doing great. Crypto, who again, I'm not a big crypto fan, but crypto's doing great. Gold is holding its own. And people have a different look about America and they're excited. That is what we want to see. Winning. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Pay attention to these stories. No matter how much Trump is winning, did you hear all these stories that James O'Keefe shared? How dangerous it is because the bureaucratic class is huge. And they can get rid of 20 or 30 or 40% and still have 60% to deal with. So it's going to be an uphill battle. But I think so far Trump's done very good over this last few days. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Comment below. I need to know what you think because when you comment, it tells me what you're thinking and we can work together to build a better common sense approach and also talk about some of these things in the videos. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless.